Inspector, have I got news for you? I'm Brian Blessed. Yes, it's me. I'm back again. Now, in the news this week, as Silvio Berlusconi celebrates his latest election result, his campaign team call off the hunt for his missing mistress. And Richard Hammond arrives at A&E having driven an open-top car under a low bridge. And there's delight for Eric Pickles as his new toasting fork is finally delivered. On Ian's team tonight, a left-wing politician who believes the state should pay for everything except a ceremonial funeral. Please welcome the fantastic Ken Livingstone. Yes! And with Paul tonight is a comedian who, in a previous job, worked as a greetings card packer in a factory. On her last day, she was given hundreds of leaving cards and told to pop them in the delivery van on her way out. And now please welcome the wonderful, gorgeous Bridget Christie! And we start with the biggest stories of the week. Ian and Ken, take a look at this.
There she is, swinging away. It's an old lady who's died this week. Any thoughts, Ken? Oh, look, she's burying you. There we are, switching Britain on.
Well, it's amazing. I haven't had my invite to the funeral yet, so I haven't been able to decline it.
Would you go?
No, it would be a tad hypocritical. Given she abolished me, I don't think she expects me to turn up at her funeral.
She's died, and the BBC has been accused of bias. So, luckily, tonight it's rectified it by inviting Ken Livingstone on.
Wednesday saw tributes in Parliament. Anyone catch what Norman Lamont had to say?
No. What did he have to say?
Well, don't you know, Paul?
No, I don't. Me and Norman fell out some time ago.
He said, she looked at me and said, you are utterly hopeless. Oh. What great judgment she had.
Yeah. There was a succession of rather wet elderly men appearing on the telly saying, she was awfully rude to us, you know, and really horrid to Geoffrey.
When you say wet elderly men, have they just been fished from the Thames with it?
And there's some very elderly posh ones going, God, I mean, she was a woman. Rather vulgar, probably middle class. Ghastly. And a woman.
There's been a lot of talk this week about the fact that she was a woman.
Yes.
But, I mean, I knew all along. It was sort of beyond gender, in a way. She had such conviction and such amazing confidence in herself that I think that whatever she'd been born, she wouldn't have thought that that was a hindrance, even if she'd been born a man or a goat. It wouldn't have stopped her.
You think she'd have been Britain's first goat prime minister?
Well, she would have been. And now we'd all be saying, against all odds, at a time when it was inconceivable that a goat would have been elected as a member of Parliament.
I hardly think she'd have been against the nanny state, though.
What did John Gunner have to say?
Nothing interesting.
He said she had beautiful hands and lovely ankles, and she knew precisely how to use both.
Like walking and picking up things.
Are you familiar with Harry Styles? He sent a Twitter message saying, R.I.P. Baroness Thatcher, and these were the responses from his fans. Is he your friend? R.I.P.? But who? Oh, sorry. Is Margaret Thatcher something to do with the Queen? I've only just read this. This is shite. Did you also see the misunderstanding over a Twitter conversation called Now Thatcher's Dead?
Oh, yes.
Which upset fans of the popular singer Cher, who thought she died.
Now that Cher's dead.
Yeah.
There were some errors on mainstream television also. Did you see how the BBC announced the news?
Yes, can we see it again?
Sorry, I was interrupting there, John, just because there's one more line, just as you were reading that, which has just come in from Lord Bell, and he's been quoted saying, "It is with great sadness that Mark and Carol Thatcher announced that their mother, Baroness Thatcher, died peacefully following a strike this morning."
And Thailand's Channel 5 showed a photo of Meryl Streep instead. And now here's another question. Why weren't Thatcher's children there at the end?
Perhaps Mark was still on the run.
Yes, that's it.
Actually, I was on paper review with Carol Thatcher the day it was revealed in the papers that Mark Thatcher was a multimillionaire. And she said, "I don't see how that can be. He's never done a day's work in his life." That's true. Keep it in.
That's all the lawyer needs to hear. That's true. Keep it in. That's
It's
what
in
we
the
should do.
autobiography and he hasn't sued.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but no one's read that.
You're in it.
Am I?
Yeah.
Blimey.
That's with private eyes. That's when you said I had a secret Swiss bank account into which Gaddafi had put $250,000.
Did we get the figure wrong?
No, I think
Well, I have to say, they were abroad. What did Maggie once say about her son?
Did she only say something once about him?
Well, she said Mark could sell snow to the Eskimos and sand to the Arabs.
But mainly just arms, the nasty little...
Now, how did the BBC expose their own lefty tendencies and their utter contempt for Thatcher's memory?
They interviewed her enemies who said unpleasant things about her, and then they interviewed her friends, most of whom also said unpleasant things about her.
Now, the BBC interviewed Gerry Adams. What did he say?
Didn't he go on about how she supported a whole list of things he didn't approve of, basically?
Well, he said Margaret Thatcher did great hurt to the British people, although not as much as all those bombs, eh, Gerry? All right, Gerry, any time! Yeah. Straight between you, gizzard!
I thought we politically moved on from issuing threats to former members of the IRA.
Well, the BBC also interviewed Maggie's biggest fan and disciple, Tony Blair. Did you see his tribute? He said, very few leaders get to change the landscape of not just their own country, but of the world. I mean, well, he certainly changed the landscape of Baghdad. I'm sorry, Tony, I'm sorry about that, because he had a heart operation, once he had ablation.
Well, he had one put in.
Did he have one put in? And now, Lord Howe of Aberavon was... I'm not going to say that again.
Yeah, go on.
I'm not, Aberavon...
It sounds like you're drowning in a bath.
was asked by Sky for his thoughts on his time in Thatcher's cabinet. And he said, it was a long time ago. Well, yes, that's the idea when someone dies, Geoffrey. A bit of reminiscing about old stuff. Come on, shape up!
I think you're in safer ground attacking Geoffrey Howe than you were with Gerry Adams.
Did you hear about Julian Stiles? According to the Mirror, Julian, 58, was made redundant from his factory job in 1984. I've been waiting for that witch to die for 30 years, he said. Tonight is party time. I'm drinking one drink for every year I've been out of work. 30 years? Without a job? Pull your finger out, Julian, you lazy bastard! I'll kill you, you bastard!
Let's abandon this show. Brian says, who wants a fight? Line up in alphabetical order. Adams, you're first.
But there has
the
been...
celebrations... Go on, me dog, speak.
No, I just said there have been lunacy on both sides. The more conservative press has got very overexcited and there are plans to rename London Thatcher. Did you know that?
Port Stanley, I think. No.
And the statue?
Well,
do you want her on the 4th plinth?
When I became mayor, I was told, because I was critical, what are you going to do with it? I said, well, it's actually reserved for Her Majesty when she dies. I'm not supposed to say that. They said, you can't tell anyone.
I think rather than putting the Queen up there, we should have a statue rather than actually putting her up there. I mean, that's sort of... That'd be a big grizzly,
That's why I had
wouldn't
all
it?
those temporary things. They put her up there. There'll be endless demos, people trying to pull it down. It'll be just like the Saddam Hussein thing, people pulling it down with ropes, you know.
Well, that and a ring of steel of Daily Mail readers guarding the flame.
The celebrations of Thatcher's death have been criticised by all sides, including Tony Blair. Blair said this: "When you decide, you divide." I think she would be pretty philosophical about it, and I hope I will be too. Although, philosophically speaking, he'd be dead.
He believes in an afterlife. He'll be looking down on the celebrations.
Or looking up.
And now, Margaret Thatcher is to have a ceremonial funeral. What's it going to cost?
10 million.
You're absolutely right, in between 10 million and 40 million. I mean, I don't understand this, you see. Look, when I was a kid...
Yeah.
I used to make coffins. I left school at 14, love. I made hundreds of coffins. Yeah. I mean, I could do it cheaply. Well, it only cost 25 quid.
In those days, even if they weren't dead, you punched them into the coffin.
Well,
Brian has just offered to do the whole thing for 25 quid.
For 25 quid.
Got to be the lowest bid. I think it's out to tender. Give it to Brian.
The BBC News produced an artist's impression of what the funeral might look like. Yes. Well, it's a bit like Reservoir Dogs. I mean, I was up for that movie, you know. I was up for that movie.
Yeah.
Marvellous Barker. That'd be marvellous.
What's your reservoir like?
I don't... All the retrospectives of Thatcher's reign have brought back some memories. Do you recall what the eminent Dr. Jonathan Miller said about Thatcher? She is loathsome and repulsive in every way with her odious suburban gentility. I mean, it's good that Jonathan Miller reminds us occasionally of what a twat he is.
Line them up.
Who wants to see, this is good, to see Margaret Thatcher's reaction when a Swedish TV presenter asked her to do a little jump in the air?
I'd love to see it.
It's kind of gimmick on my show, and it's to make a jump.
I shouldn't dream of doing that. Why should I?
Well,
I see no significance whatsoever of making a jump up in the air. I made great leaps forward, not little jumps in studios.
Nice to know other countries' tellies as crap as ours, isn't it?
I'm going on that. Am I on that?
Yes, you're on this now.
Yes, so
I don't know
thank
what
God
you're
for that.
on.
I can't read this. Yes, this is the solemn news that one of our greatest peacetime prime ministers has died. But don't worry, Gordon's alive! Geoffrey Archer paid tribute to Lady Thatcher, saying she was a giant and she will remain a giant, and in history she will remain a giant. Geoffrey Archer, not just a terrible writer, but also a terrible writer. Lord Saatchi joined in the tribute, saying, "Everyone wants to be immortal. Few are. Mrs. Thatcher is." Has he not read the papers? Lady Thatcher's funeral will be held in central London next Wednesday. It will be a full ceremonial occasion with military honours. But at her own request, there'll be no fly-past, though the Argentinian Air Force did offer. Paul and Bridget,
Yes.
my sugar lumps.
Yes.
Take a look at this.
Another one of the feel-good stories of the week. This is a man who's extremely dangerous.
Getting hopscotch very wrong.
Absolutely. There he has been applauded, and everybody laughing and clapping, because he's fantastic. He's conducting his own symphony, which he's written inside a tank.
It's nice to have someone on who makes Mrs. Thatcher look rational and human, isn't it?
That's why you're here. But those missiles that went up in the air and then fell down again and looked like they were made of Lego...
The American ones did at the beginning. The really scary bit is when they get it right.
Oh, you've reassured me, Ken.
I'm sure this guy, if you know, this North Korean is going to send off a couple of rockets and they'll go backwards and go round and round and round like the ouzel bird and disappear up his arse. Now, let's see how Jeremy Paxman introduced this major international story on Newsnight.
There have mercifully been no hostilities yet, and the natural response to the spectacle of a fat little man in an absurd boiler suit issuing such threats is perhaps to laugh.
Now, since North Korea has ratcheted up the tension, what's happened to South Korea's sunshine policy? Ian?
What, an attempt at rapprochement with the North? Well, it's not gone awfully well when they're threatening to annihilate you.
Well, it says here the sunshine policy was an attempt to try and engage more positively with its neighbour. Both countries jointly run a group of factories near the border called the Kaesong Industrial Complex. Doesn't that sound a lovely place? Yeah. But now North Korea has withdrawn its workforce. Also, South Korea's Minister of Unification, Ro Ki-ji-jang, confirmed reports in South Korea's Jongdang Alidang newspaper that there were signs of suspicious activity at the Pungigai site in North Korea, although North Korea official Kim Yang-gong-bang claimed South Korea were just warmongering. And then Ryo Kyo-jae changed his mind, denied the newspaper reports, and said he couldn't remember saying anything about it. So why the f*** have I bothered to read all that out? What a load of bollocks! I'm going to sit on this. I'm not being too eyebrow, am I?
No, not too eyebrow.
Of course.
Too eyebrow? Is that an acting term?
It's an acting term. Bridget, I mean, you know a lot about weaponry, don't you? I'm told you can fire a musket.
I can.
Or is that some sort of double entendre?
No, it's not. I can fire a musket
Can you that?
without singeing my eyebrows.
Really?
It takes a long time. And muskets are really long and heavy. But I actually had a... I'm ashamed of this because I'm a feminist, but I had a man hold the end of it for me.
Are we still talking about a gun?
The Sun provided a helpful Q&A by North Korea expert Aidan Foster Carter, who answered such questions as, is the US right to move a defence system to the island of Guam? What do we know about North Korea's nuclear programme? And is Kim Jong-un a warped loony? Now, who wants to see just how popular Kim Jong-un is with his army? Let's have a look at what happened when he arrives by boat for a visit to an army base. I mean, it's like a bad rehearsal of Cats. Who wants to see the North Korean embassy in London?
Yes, please.
Oh, yes.
Now, it's not quite as grand as you might expect. It's a semi-detached house in Ealing where, according to neighbours, one of the diplomats is a fan of the X Factor. It's a 7-bedroom property, so if nothing else, North Korea now owes us 98 quid a week in bedroom tax. Now then, the question is, what sort of activity has been going on there?
Well, there's been a big removals van parked there.
Yes!
Oh, they're leaving, yes, in case we go to war.
Somebody's moving out. Apparently, it's a new secretary's moved in or something.
You're right, Bridget.
Are they trying to scare us by saying, we're moving out, Ealing is the big target?
Our removal van has been spotted outside the embassy, although with North Korea being such a secretive state, they were quite discreet about it. That's what they call a career move. No. A career move.
What have you done?
Oh, shit, I've got cramp in my right leg. Come here,
Want somebody to massage it for you?
I've been on that cycle,
Put some weight
training
on
for
it.
me mountains. Ken, pull the leg, pull the foot over.
Pull his leg.
No, pull it.
Pull the leg.
Shit, fucking hell,
First useful thing I've done in years. Oh, I'll pull me bloody mic out.
Oh, right, it's coming.
Is it coming back?
Is he coming back?
No, keep... What have US soldiers been doing which involves Camp Stanley? They're practising anti-chemical warfare techniques. Oh, I've got tailwind.
You're not falling to bits, are you, Brian?
I'm sure this isn't chemical warfare.
Ken, pull his foot, quick.
I know. If somebody kills Brian, the list of suspects is going to be enormous. How you doing?
I'm all happy.
You right?
I feel much better, much better.
And that's why we shouldn't cut benefits.
Some experts believe we can predict the next move of North Korea because they've got a thing about the number 9.
Yes.
Now, what is it?
It's a lucky number. It has a great significance in their culture.
That's right. Now, 9 is regarded as a very lucky number.
Yeah.
The first nuclear test took place October 9, 2006, as my birthday.
Yeah.
Second was on 5th of April, 2009. Yeah. And that's significant, according to the magazine Business Insider, because...
Sorry, what was the first word?
Now, it says here, 5 plus 4 equals 9, and the 9 of 2009.
Yeah.
Now, the next nuclear test was on 12th of December 2012.
Yeah.
And therefore, 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 of 2012 equals 9.
Yeah.
And the North Koreans announced they couldn't protect foreign diplomats after Wednesday of this week, which was...
the 9th.
April the 10th. We're dealing with lunatics. This is the deranged, power-crazed dictator. Hang on a minute. Haven't we done with her? No, I'm getting it wrong. No. Oh, this is Kim Jong-un and his desire to make his own mark on the world in the shape of a bloody great crater. And here's a recent picture of Kim Jong-un applying for the manager's job at Sunderland. Tensions were further escalated this week when North Korea warned they would restart their nuclear reactor with the chilling words, "OK, boys, start piddling." At the end of that round...
That's the first round, by the way. The idea seems to be commemorate Margaret Thatcher's term in power in real time.
So only 11 and a half years to go.
So at the end of that round, well, it's 2 points each. It's close. And so on to round 2, and a new game that I'm calling Have I Got Noise for You? Along with the picture clue, I'm going to make a noise which should tell you what the story's about. So we start with...
Yes.
Lady in Red. Now, what are those?
I think the pandas have started having sex, but I don't think they make that much noise about it. They don't really get very sort of, horny.
No.
It takes a lot to get them going.
Yeah.
Do you know you came top in a poll of the sexiest bearded men?
Did I really?
Yeah, I heard about it somewhere.
I mean, you were only running against Osama bin Laden.
This is the news that Yang Guang, Edinburgh's zoo's male panda, has had his radio switched from classic FM to smooth radio to help get him in the mood to mate. You didn't say that, did you?
No, we didn't, no.
Now, what sort of music do pandas find sexy?
Well, I would have thought sort of reggae, early ska.
Is it dubstep?
I don't know what that is.
London grime.
Well, according to The Independent, he now enjoys Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On! Now, how else have keepers tried to get Yang Guang ready to make love to his partner, Tian?
Well, haven't they given them a special diet?
No, it's urine collected from Tian last year has been dabbed around Yang Guang's enclosure. I mean, that's amazing. Me and the wife do it exactly the same every day. You're going to kill me for that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
What, you get pandas...
You've got to keep it in the fridge.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you've got to keep it
That's
in the
a big
fridge.
turn on, love.
Do you have to break
I've been
in
dubbed around Yang Guang's enclosure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Now, why do pandas
Can't
need...
you go down there, Brian, and take matters into your own
I
hands?
think so. I think so. I mean, I've had Yetis.
Yeah.
So, I mean, always... I mean,
And how abominable was he?
What have gorillas been in the news for this week?
Two children were standing in front of their enclosure with bananas, and the gorilla went nuts, rightly so, and was banging on the glass and... You know.
Brilliant, brilliant, Bridget, you've got it. A gorilla called Motaba has been indulging in a bit of what is popularly called photo bombing. Here he is. This is the news that Edinburgh Zoo's pandas may be about to mate. According to the Telegraph, if the mating doesn't take place, the zoo will attempt artificial insemination using samples taken from Yang Guang. He's not the president of North Korea, is he?
No, not at the moment.
No, I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's a traumatising experience for both the panda and the work experience boy. And here's your next noise clue. Here we go. Catching! Boo!
This is the banker,
Yes, James
Crosby.
Yep.
So anyway, there were three bankers who were finally in HBOS, which is Halifax Bank of Scotland, which collapsed spectacularly and had to be bailed out by the taxpayer. And the three people in charge have finally, after all these years, been found guilty. And the Parliamentary Standards Committee were incredibly cross with them. And a banker has offered to give his knighthood back.
God, you're a mine of information.
If he was a mine of information, Margaret Thatcher would have closed him down years ago.
But what was interesting about this man, James
Yes,
Crosby, is as well as being in charge of HBOS, he was deputy chairman of the Financial Services Authority, which was meant to look into scandals in the city. And amazingly, he didn't see his own.
Why are we saying that that's a great thing for him to do? It doesn't really seem... I mean, a title's very important.
John Lennon returned his gong, didn't he? So it's a good precedent.
Yeah, and I lost my title when I got married. It didn't bother me at all.
What were you?
Miss. Ceausescu was stripped of his knighthood the day before he was executed.
For
by the
mass
firing
murder.
squad. Yes, but he must have been thinking, oh, God, the knighthood's gone. Oh, well, tomorrow's another day.
Now, why does he want to be stripped? I mean, you've said that. You've answered that. He's been roundly panned by everyone for destroying HBOS. Paxman called him a prominent incompetent. The Parliamentary Commission on Banker Standards described him as the architect of the strategy that set course for disaster. And worst of all, he's been widely labelled Gordon Brown's favourite banker.
That's a title you'd like to lose, isn't it?
And as well as his knighthood, what's Sir James kindly giving back?
He's giving back some of his pension.
25% of his pension, so he's got to get by on 400 grand a year. God knows how he'll manage.
It's tough, isn't it, Ken?
It is
You
tough.
tried.
Well, in actual fact... Well, me dogs, he's kindly giving back 30% of his annual pension every year until he dies. Though that still leaves him taking 400,000 a year, or in other words, the piss. This is Sir James Crosby, or as he will henceforth be known, that idiot who screwed up HBOS. Some city analysts were shocked that a banker was prepared to give up 30% of his pension. Even after that, he'll still be worth £400,000 a year. I mean, that's assuming it's invested by people who know more about it than he does. Which means, at the end of this round, it's 3 to Bridget and Paul. Yes. And therefore, to Ken and Ian, you're 4.
Yeah.
Very good. Very tight. Right. Now, time now for the odd one out round.
It's you!
Just one between you this week. Liz Hurley, Karina Trimmingham, George Osborne, and a snow car.
Is it the car made of snow? Because the other 3 pollute the atmosphere.
Is it actually a car covered in snow or made out of snow?
Yes, that's what I thought.
I don't know why I'm asking Brian.
He might know.
No, I don't. I've lost my card.
He's lost his
Yeah.
card. Make it
I'm
up.
the clue where I am off. What the...
OK,
We are now rudderless. If any of you ever escape from this environment, send help.
Have I asked a question yet?
Yeah, so Ian asked, is that a model of a car in snow, or is it a car covered in snow?
It's a car made of snow.
Is it to do with people in prison? Karina Trimmingham went to visit Chris Hoon, who's in jail.
No, it is not something
No,
like
but
that.
I just wanted to say Chris Hoon's in
That's
jail
coming
again.
later, so I won't spoil it.
This Hurley's then partner got done in a small crime in a car park. And
Hugh Grant.
yes, we
Oh, you've got to name names.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Levison. I'll
And
protect you.
We all know either George Osborne has had a illicit affair or the car. Now, if you had to have sex with one of those two, which would you go for?
What do you think is the car?
For the reason I gave.
No.
Osborne parked in a disabled bay this week in McDonald's and he got a ticket.
The car that's made out of snow was only a temporary problem, because it melted. That's your one.
What was her car offence?
Liz Hurley.
Hugh Grant. There's a connection.
I don't think she was there. That's partly the reason why the offence occurred.
I think...
Yeah, go on, tell us.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, here, I have to say that I am actually losing my mind at the moment.
Yes. I think we've got way past that.
They have all received a parking ticket, apart from George Osborne, who didn't because he can park wherever he likes. According to the Mirror, he parked his £50,000 taxpayer-funded Land Rover in a space for the disabled, which Osborne clearly isn't, as we can see here. Well, I mean, it's a real shame he wasn't any good, because beforehand he was so excited.
Sorry.
That's the Olympic legacy in one clip.
Karina Trimmingham, Chris Hume's girlfriend, was given a £110 penalty for parking in a permit holder's bay while visiting him at Wandsworth Prison.
I went to Ford once.
You went to what, lad?
Ford open prison.
Did you?
Yeah, it's very nice in there.
What were you done for?
No, really, what were you done for? Just laughing it off like that, unless you feel you've paid your debt to society.
I just don't feel we should go back. I've been rehabilitated.
As what?
No, he's in...
The governor said, I don't want you to get the impression that this place is full of middle-class prisoners. And as I left the door, one of them said, we've got a bridge club here. Do you fancy...
He's in Leyhill Open Prison in Gloucestershire, which has been described as the Savoy of slabbers. I usually prefer the Ritz, though not this week. It must have been like that episode of Fawlty Towers in there. Liz Hurley was recently given £240 worth of parking tickets when she left her car on the streets of Mayfair for 4 days after she had forgotten where she had parked it. But apparently it was down to the Sun newspaper, who reported that they managed to trace the car to the street where she left it. God, they're God!
I wonder how they'd done it. I wonder if they used any sort of technology.
Rich people don't behave like you and I. All my money goes on my animals. We don't know about leaving a little car here and a little car there.
What animals
and
do you
forgetting
have?
all about it, yes.
He's
Do you
got
know what I mean?
3,000 animals.
Yes, thousands of animals, yes. And so we just...
What? What are they?
Are you expecting a flood?
I have to tell you now. What do you say? They have all received a parking ticket, apart from George Osborne, who didn't because he can park wherever he likes. George Osborne's car was parked illegally when he went to get a meal in McDonald's. Well, as a chancellor, he's used to opening boxes with unpleasant surprises inside. Osborne stopped at McDonald's just off the M4 as he returned from a speaking engagement at a nursery in Cardiff, where a group of toddlers pointed out the holes in his deficit reduction plan. Well, it's time now for the missing words.
Oh, good.
Which this week features, as its guest publication, my own local paper, the Barnsley Chronicle. Of course, it's not all just about Barnsley. They've got a foreign correspondent based in Wakefield. And we start with Tory politician turned TV presenter May Watt.
Read with humans.
No.
Not read with humans?
Answer, visit railway. This is a lovely series, isn't it? This is Choo Choo, Michael Portillo's proposed filming in South Yorkshire, which, according to the Barnsley Chronicle, could take him to Cortonwood Colliery, where the miners' strike started. I should think by then they'll have had time to clear away the bunting and party balloons. And next, what brought back to life?
Thatcher. Just giving Ken a bad time.
Don't forget we're in Yorkshire. It's the game of Nipsey. This...
I didn't know he had died.
It's a piece of wood yonder.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a hole in it.
Yes.
And they put a piece of wood inside there,
Yes.
it sticks out.
Yeah.
And you've got a great big stick here.
Yeah.
And you kind of hit it. And it used to go right up in the air. And then wham! You could hit a farmer or you could hit a policeman from 100 yards. Wham!
So I think I've seen it. So it's bang, whoom, like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's a bloody good weapon. I think they
Yeah.
could use it in North Korea.
Yeah.
And next, the man was so convinced he was being spied on by someone living across the road, he had to...
Confront Murdoch.
Buy some curtains.
Yes! Brilliant!
Buy some curtains.
Practical. No, I didn't buy some curtains. No, did you say buy some curtains?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
No, there's a crap answer. Answer, draw his curtain.
Oh, well, there we are.
There we are.
Well,
This is a
Isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
Is that what did you say that?
Yes.
Give the point back. I'm sorry. And next, Middocks, the cult 70s sci-fi Blake 7, what?
To be remade.
Yes, the answer to return. Now, according to the Telegraph, Blake 7 wouldn't have been a cult hit without guest appearances by Julian Glover, Roy Kinnear, and, of course, legendary Brian Blessed.
You've added the word legendary.
I was Voltron in Flash Gordon.
Yeah, I remember
I was
that
Francis
bit.
Smith in Z-Cars. I was a sex symbol. I got 28 million letters a bloody week. Anyway. And finally, Apollo astronauts suffer what?
They don't like coming back because it was all so wonderful up there, and then they've come back, they've stood on the moon, surfaces, they've looked at the blue and green planet spinning in the middle of the black velvet around it and all the stars as if casually tossed against a sort of... Oh, I don't know, what am I talking about? Is it a headache?
I just love it. The answer is toilet trials. This is the newly discovered transcripts of Apollo 10, which featured the mission commander saying, "There's a turd floating through the air." I've always thought the first shit in space was going to be Richard Branson. But he do you want me to tell my story?
You might as well.
No,
No, he says no. No, he knows what it is. He knows what it is.
So, the final scores are... Bridget and Paul have got 6, and my two friends on the right, the ex-Lord Mayor, Mr Livingstone, and Ian Hislop, they have got 6! A wonderful draw!
That felt really good, someone referring to me and Ken as my two friends on the right.
Do I continue now then, Paul? Yes. On which note
That's up to your agent.
Is it... He's out there! Hello, Steve! He's out there. No, he's out there. On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Ken Livingstone, Paul Merton and Bridget Christie! And I leave you with news that in Alabama, a group of gay rights activists campaign for same-sex marriage. In southwest China, a cormorant salesman is advised by locals to go and get those looked at. And the row over the cost of Lady Thatcher's funeral escalates with the delivery of the hearse. Good night, and don't let the bastards grind you down!
Have I Got News For You continues on Friday at 9 with guest host Warwick Davis. Next tonight, catch up with the Graham Norton Show. He's joined by Michael Bublé and Jack Dee. Or in 5 minutes on BBC Three, it's Family Guy.
Also, a little thing is, which won't be shown, you can see my hands.
Yes.
But we used to play marbles, and we had ball bearings, and we had glass arrows, and we had glass marbles in the war years. And I was a good marble player. A poor marble player did that. But a good marble player could turn it, which was rather handsome, put the marble just there on the thumb and finger, and shoot. And you had immense accuracy.
Have you lost any of those marbles since then?